Hello, this is Ben from bostrowgames. I want to share with you my newest multiplayer party game, which is called Capitalist Casino. This is our version of Monopoly. We think we've made it better. We've kept some of the best elements, including trading, easy to read board, and crushing your loved ones under the weight of the capitalist empire that you've created. We've kept all that, but we've sped up the gameplay, we've reduced some of the stalemates that can occur, and we've made the game more fair because every single space that you could own on the board, that's always up for grabs. If someone lands on it first, that doesn't mean they get to buy it. It means it's up for auction, and that just accelerates the game, makes it more fair, more fun. Let's get started. If you want to play a solo game with AI opponents, you can do that with solo play. It's very easy to get set up. In terms of gameplay, I would recommend using the fast rent format. You could use classic. It's a bit of a slower game, but I would stick with the fast rent for your first play. And then first to fail is just the first player to go fully bankrupt. The player with the highest amount of assets at that point in time, they're the winner. If you want to play a more traditional structure, it's the last one standing. You're just the last one to survive as everyone else goes fully bankrupt. I'm going to show you, though, a multiplayer game. This is the recommended format, especially if you've got people in the same place, but you can definitely play over Zoom as well. So you're going to create the multiplayer room from the device that you want to be shared with everyone. You can put this on a TV screen. You can just put this on a laptop. You can share it over Zoom. Super easy to do. And if you've ever seen a Jackbox party game, same sort of format. You can scan the code with your phone, takes you directly there. You just enter your name and join. You can also take the link, and if you just go to the main page, which I'm going to do, you can join as a player directly from there. So I am going to just show side by side so you can see the host and the player screen. And I'm going to take what is the room code, which is PPYF. I'm going to join. And I'll be green. And then we can have other people join the game. We're ready to go. We can get started. And once we do that, all the controls are going to just happen on each of the players' own devices. So imagine this screen on the right. That's just my mobile phone. But for now, I'm just going to show you so you can see side by side. There's no hidden information. So if you were to show your screen to someone else, it's not a big deal. It's just your controls to operate the game. Let's add in a few bots. So let's keep on first to fail. We'll add a few bots, up to 8 players in the game. Let's go with 5. That seems pretty good. So let's get started. Okay, so I actually end up being first, which is great, so I can introduce more of the game. So at the start of each turn, there's collecting interest on your cash balance. And then the player whose turn it is, they have to pay interest on any loans they have outstanding. At the start of the game, we don't have any loans, so that's not an issue, but everyone's going to collect interest on each of the start of each other player's turn as well. Creates a little bit of balance and fairness in terms of the bidding that's going to come up. You can see that we've got 24 spaces on the board, 1 through 21. Those are all spaces that you can own. Getting more adjacent spaces together, that's going to make a higher rent structure, which you can see in the helper in the top left corner. And if you make those longer chains, that's going to make your properties more likely to get hit on. And then each one of those spaces is going to be more expensive for your opponents to land on as well. So there's this really delicate balance in terms of trying to build out your chain while also preventing other people's chains from happening. There's also 3 special spaces. The first one with single zero, that is a asset tax. It's a wealth tax on all of your assets. That's for 10%. The second one, 00, that's it's called Anton's Wager, and the idea here, it's actually based on probably a not true story, an apocryphal tale of a wealthy mid-level banker that decides to take out all of his holdings in cash, go to Vegas, spin it one time on red and black, and if he wins, he goes home with double what he had before. If he loses, he's just done. And that is the same sort of thing. You can get this coin that you can use later at any time to do the same sort of thing. You can get double your assets back in cash, or you're just out of the game. And the third one is total recall. This is a recall of any debt you have outstanding plus 10%. This can be really bad later in the game if you've accrued this big debt balance and you think you can pay it back in the future, but it gets called immediately. So, quick overview. Let's get started. So I'm going to collect/pay interest. This pays out $20 million to everyone involved. And then I'm going to proceed with the spin for my turn. Okay, so this is the first property that's up, and you can already see the bots have started bidding. On my player screen, I can see where it is. I can also look at the board to see where it is, and I can enter bids as well. So you can bid custom if you wanted to. You could also just bid in increments of $1 or $10 million above the last bid. They're getting pretty aggressive, but you can see why later in the game as people try to stake out their spot on the board. Okay, and then at the end of the turn, there's other things you can do in terms of managing your assets, in terms of taking out additional loans, paying downloads, proposing trades with other players. But when you're done, you just end your turn, and then it passes to the next person. So interest is going to be collected for everyone involved. Farah, she's spinning now, and then she'll have another open space. So this is going to continue. We'll pick back up in a little bit when the game has progressed a little bit further, and you can see a little bit more of what's going on with this game. Okay, we're jumping back into the game, and there's been a few trades that were just made. So I actually had some of the spots in the 2-3 area. I made a trade with Dev for some cash and swap some properties, and made another trade with Farah. And we might be a little bit of a disadvantage because Dev has that chain, but now we've got some space to work. We've cleaned up some debt that we had to take on some more spaces. Kind of wish I'd showed you that too, but I think we're going to get some of those elements as we go further in the game as well. You can see that Cedric's got 2 spaces, 20 and 19, looking to make that connection. I'm kind of blocking what Rohan was trying to do a little bit with 18 and 14 and trying to take up some spots in the middle. So really interesting. And you can see how certain spaces can be really interesting in terms of blocking, but also building as well. So initially I had bought 15 to try to block Rohan. And then when 16 came up as an auction possibility, that was attractive because I can still build, a relatively small chain within that area. So let's keep going. It's going to be Farah's turn. Okay, so Farah's trying to make a trade with me again. I don't quite want this. Yeah, I'm just going to decline that. I think we're going to be in the same sort of spot either way. Okay, so this is going to be really interesting. Dev, if he makes this chain, the rent for each of those spaces goes from 125 million anytime someone lands on it to 625 million. You can see how this is just an escalation at 5 to the power of whatever that chain is. That's how it works in the fast structure. The number of players in the game will dictate the amount that rent increases. So if you were in a 6-person game, it would be 6 to the first, 6 to the first, and then 6 squared, 6 cubed, on and on. Cedric is actually blocking this, which is good for us. So I think we're comfortable with Cedric having this. One thing to note is that 1 and 21 don't connect. We've got those special spaces in between. So the middle of the board, that's more advantageous as well in terms of value. Now he's learned, so this is on Anton's wager. He's going to get that coin and he can use it in the future. The bots are programmed to only use it if they're in an immediate default scenario, but a player can use it at any time. But the risk is if you use it and you miss the coin toss, you're just out of the game completely. Okay, great. So this is an opportunity to block Cedric. Cedric's got 806 million. One thing is that, so you can use debt if if you're a player in the game. I've programmed the bots to not use that yet. Still working out a few things there. Generally speaking, unless you're just buying up a ton of properties, you're not really going to need to take out debt. It can definitely be very powerful. The amount that you take out in a loan relative to the asset associated with it, that's going to increase your interest rate associated with that. So I'll get an example of that for the future. I think we can make a trade with Farah. She already offered this to us before, so let's try to do this trade. So she wanted to give us 12 and we'll give her 7. So we're going to pick out Farah. We're going to ask for space 12 right here, and we'll give her 7. Do we want to get greedy and ask for some money as well? I don't think so. Let's just be fair. It's a trade that she offered that we missed out on. Okay, great. And, Dev's going to hit there too. And Dev is in the danger zone. Dev had paid a bunch of money to me to build up that chain, and now he's going into restructuring. So he can't pay his obligation. And this is true for any player. You can't take out the debt to pay an obligation that already exists. You're going to have to start auctioning off your properties. So this is a distressed auction. And, he's still going to owe that remaining balance to Farah of $57.5 million. But to get that money, it's going to be having to sell off properties to do so. Now, Farah's bidding for this one, and she's probably going to get it. And I don't think I'm going to intervene, but it is going to create a lot of danger because if 4 comes up in the future, all of a sudden, that's going to be incredibly valuable for her because then it goes from a 3 chain to a 5 chain. So that's just something we have to look out for. Okay, this is a problem because Farah's got a good amount of money, and that is going to make her a chain of 4 that we want to avoid. So I think Rohan's going to bid on this too. Maybe he'll take the fall for us, but if not, we're going to have to bid this up. The benefit too is that if we capture 8, then all of a sudden 9 is incredibly valuable for us. So that's a little bit of an upshot there. Rohan looks like he's going to grab it. I think I'm going to let him. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm never going to financially recover from this.
Okay, that's a little taste of some of the sounds. I can get back into it. Okay, so you can see how the game is progressing, right? You can see how Dev was out to a big benefit in terms of having that 3-space chain, but his lack of cash assets and resources, that illiquidity made him at risk for any sort of obligation, just putting him into a restructuring scenario. So something to keep in mind. And it could be a situation where, if we get to a bit of a lower cash balance, I might want to take out some debt, even though I don't need it specifically, just to have more cash on hand. So if I do have this obligation come up, I can pay it and make sure I don't have to just fire sale my assets away. And we got lucky again. So, we've got these 2 spaces on the board. And that's going to be pretty powerful for us right now. It's not quite enough to really just knock someone out with one blow, but we're going to chip away. We're going to build up our cash position, make us safe against some of the risks that we have, both in terms of Cedric spaces and in terms of Farah spaces, while also having the opportunity to build upon ours. So maybe we can expand out further, but also if we get an opportunity, I can show you another feature, which is doubling down. That's when you land on one of the spaces you already own. You can pay the face value that was already paid for that property. And by doing so, it's effectively like adding another one to the chain. You don't get more spaces, but the rent goes up by 1 in terms of that chain. So this chain of 3 would turn into a chain of 4 in terms of the rent that can be charged on those 3 spaces. You'll see more when we get to the opportunity. Okay, this is bad for Farah, good for Cedric. Okay, so this clearly, right, this is going to be a contested spot. because people don't want me to have this. Good for me, though, they don't have too much cash on hand. So let's see if we can grab it. You can see that they're bidding it up. I'm going to jump in the mix. Hopefully I can take it away from Farah. We're going to have to debt finance this. And it's going to put us in a little bit of a precarious spot, but that's okay. That's going to be okay. Yeah. All right. So we've got 303 million on hand, 303 and change on hand, and this one's going to cost 566. So that would put us in a little bit of a danger zone. I think if we can refinance too, so that's a nice benefit. We can take out loans in some other properties, and we can associate that. There's no penalty in terms of not being able to collect rents if you've taken out loans on these properties, by the way. Yeah, the interest rate is going to be high, but we can live with it for a little bit. So let's do that. Go a little bit further. And so we'll still have some safety, but if someone lands on that, 625 million, that's going to be great for us. Just missed there. That would have been nice. Okay, so we're going to get interest on our cash, but we're going to be charged a pretty hefty amount on that. I think, let's take a look at our loans here. So we've got this one loan out here for 471 million. Take a look at portfolio. Maybe we can, we can borrow against some other assets. This is because of some transactions that we did. So let's borrow against this. We can get a better interest rate. We can get 6.5%. So we're going to borrow against that. And now we can refinance down here. And this loan, we're going to pay the full thing off there. And then we want to have a little bit more liquidity. So let's take our portfolio. What else can we lever against? Let's just do this one. There we go. All right, so we got two loans at 6.5%. We've got a decent cash balance. We really need someone to land on one of our properties. So we're in a bit of a precarious spot. But, oh no. Okay, well, so this is the opportunity to double down. Unfortunately, this is one of our highest value spaces. And so we would need to pay $1 billion to double that one down. I think we feel good about our spot. So this chain is already going to have each space be worth $625 million in rent. I think we're good. I don't want to lever completely out the wazoo here. So we're going to decline this. We're going to hope that someone lands on our stuff so we can pay down our debt. We don't just keep getting chipped away by the interest expense and the potential for rents by other people. That's interesting because Farah might have a shot here to double down as well. I don't think she had the resources to do so. Okay. So cash yield is 5%, but it's broken up by each player. So we're in a 5-player game. We earn 1% on each player's turn. We owe the interest on our on our debt balance on our turn. So let's pay down some of our loans now. Let's pay that full amount. Yeah, we'll be in a little bit of a risky business, but that's going to be okay. Paying that down, and hopefully we don't. Okay, that's fine. We'll pay $5 million. That's totally fine. You can see how we're getting into the later stages of the game here. There still are some opportunities for trades, but it's getting a little bit broken up. But you can see how another restructuring auction would really flip up the game. Especially, if someone lands on Farah's properties and can't pay, she would have more cash than I do to really bid on some of those properties that might come free. Don't love the position that I'm in, and this is going to hurt. Okay. Wow. So we are in rough shape. We're going to be paying that to Farah, and I think we got to take out some more loans. So let's look at our portfolio again of assets. Let's take out a loan again on this just to make sure we've got more cash on hand. We really don't want to be at a spot where you know, the next rent obligation could just kill us and put us into a fire sale. We don't want to break up either one of these chains. Something else to note is that because there's that restriction on leverage, the max leverage you can have is 10 times. That means that your bid is restricted by the amount of cash that you have on hand. So if I only had, let's say, $80 million on hand, the max bid that I can make is $800 million, right? I would have to be putting 10% down. So that's going to be restrictive. So right now it's not quite, but if I was really cash strapped, it would make me at risk for default on obligations, but also I would be at risk for just not be able to bid on opportunities that could come up if someone else goes into restructuring, or frankly, if Space 13 comes open. And that's going to be great for me. So Dev is pretty much going to be out of the game. He's got to raise another 517 million. Okay, so this is where he's calling Anton's wager. He didn't get it. He was kind of already out of luck anyway. So, okay, so actually, he's going to be out of the game because he lost the coin toss. But you can see how much this property is going for. I think Farah is really trying to bid up this whole section. And I'm going to let her have that one because 4 is open. And I'm going to take 4. Or Cedric's going to try to take 4. No, I really want it. I don't want Cedric to have that leverage over her. Okay. So, yeah, this is based on the face value. This is one that I had acquired for a relatively low amount. So the double down is for a relatively low amount. And we are going to pay it all with cash. And now this chain is the same rent payment as the other chain from 12 through 9. So every time one of those properties is landed on, $625 million to me, and hopefully that's going to knock some more players out of the game. And that's going to put Rohan into restructuring. So this is an obligation for Farah. So all the cash to meet the obligation is going to go to her. Oh, this is bad. Yeah, we don't want Farah to get this one. Luckily for us, Farah doesn't have much in terms of cash resources. Excellent. So we're going to use all cash. And that's going to be bad. All right, so Cedric's, I don't think he's going to be able to raise enough capital for this, but maybe. We'll see. Oh, here we go. Okay, so he won Anton's wager. So he doubled up all of his resources, which is amazing. And so he was able to pay me off, and now he's got a bunch of cash on hand. So that really came in handy. He's back in the game. Okay, this is going to be a big hit. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Farah got lucky there. Total recall. And no, just almost there. Almost there. We're getting a little bit greedy. We're in a very good position, but nothing's ever guaranteed. Should we make it even more lucrative? So right now the rent is at 3.1 billion. Let's make it 15 billion. Why not? As if it wasn't already going to be, overly punitive as it is. There we go. So pretty much a stranglehold, and Rohan was lucky. He was lucky. Still odd that Space 13 is still out there. We'll have to pay some interest on that, but let's pay off these loans. All right. That was really just, oh, what do you know? Should we go for a chain of 17 spaces, 19 in value? Yeah, we definitely should. Yeah, we're going to take that down. Well, that's just going to be silly. I don't know what 5 to the 19 is off the top of my head, but it's large. Well, 125. He got away cheap. All right. Okay. Ooh, should I double down again? Sure, let's do it. What is 5 to the 20th? I don't know, but hopefully we find out. Here we go. That's game. What is that? That's a lot, right? And that is the game. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I can show you some gameplay with real human opponents in the future. But yeah, this was a good insight into Capitalist Casino.